What if I told you that both millennials and Gen Z are trapped in a struggle for survival, but no one really wins? Which generation is truly worse off in 2025? Is it the millennials who face the Great Recession, or Gen Z, shaped by a global pandemic and skyrocketing inflation? And what if the answer isn't as simple as you think? Let's dive deep into the data, the stories, and the myths, and find out who's really got it worse and why this matters for all of us. Millennials, born 1981 to 1996, were raised in a world that seems stable until 2008 hit. Suddenly, jobs vanished, homes were lost, and dreams were deferred. Meanwhile, Gen Z, born 1997 to 2012, never knew that calm. Their childhood was digital, but their adolescence was pandemic locked. But here's a question. Does experiencing a global economic crash in your early career hurt more than growing up in a world of constant uncertainty and climate anxiety? Millennials entered a job market that was gasping for air. The Great Recession crushed hiring. Many took gig jobs, side hustles, or moved back home. But Gen Z, they stepped into a world still reeling from COVID shutdowns, with employers wary and remote work the new norm. But here's the twist. A 2024 survey found that 40% of workers across generations think Gen Z is the hardest to work with. Is it a generational clash or a sign of changing workplace values? Does demanding work-life balance and calling out outdated office politics make you difficult or just ahead of your time? Millennials have had a decade head start on building wealth, but inflation and housing prices have skyrocketed beyond what many imagined. Gen Z earns less on average, yet faces even higher housing costs as private equity firms snap up homes. Did you know only 27.8% of Gen Z own homes today? Half the millennial rate? But wait, the oldest Gen Zers are barely 26. Could this be a temporary lag or a permanent shift? What happens to the dream of owning a home when the market is rigged against you? Millennials delayed marriage and children due to financial instability. Gen Z is taking it further, with only about 55% intending to have children and a record 28% identifying as LGBTQ+. Is this a sign of progress or a generation giving up on traditional milestones? And what about mental health? Gen Z reports higher anxiety and depression rates. But could it be that millennials just didn't talk about it as openly? How much of this is shaped by real hardship and how much by changing social norms? Here's a surprising fact. Gen Z smokes and drinks far less than millennials did at the same age, but vaping is on the rise. Could this be a healthier generation or just shifting risks? Yet, exercise rates among Gen Z have dropped since the pandemic. So, who really has it worse? Millennials, burdened by economic collapse and delayed milestones, or Gen Z, growing up in a fractured world with climate anxiety and social upheaval? Maybe the real answer is that both generations are fighting the same battle, just on different fronts. And here's the kicker. How will this generational tension shape the world we all live in? Will understanding these struggles bring us closer or drive us further apart? What do you think? If you're a millennial or Gen Z, what's your story? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe